About swiping right. And all right, everybody, my name is Jim Wrigley. I'm going to take you through a little presentation here. I see we have a few more people joining, so I'm just going to give them another minute before I get going. I'm watching as people are settling in, but today's session is going to be on DeepTarget, and I'll give you a little history. We've got a special guest who I was just speaking with for a few minutes that I could talk to for hours, Phil Suckow, and Jacob Schaefer is also a panelist today. He's going to be turning the slides for us, but also doing a demonstration. So with that, I think, yeah, I see we got it's kind of slowed down as far as the entrance. So if people come late, this is being recorded, by the way, and there's something very special at the end. I will tell you, you're really going to want to stay for the end of it. We are going to be on time. That's something very important to me. So with that, I will get started. And Jacob, you can turn to the first slide. We will get going here. Are you able to do it, Jacob? Jacob, you can go off mute.
Yes, it is on the first slide now.
Okay. So mine is unfortunately not turning with you. That's unfortunate. Um, Anyway, so on this first, I'm going to try to do it off of memory a bit here. So on this first slide, you can see the history that we've had, and I just want to take a moment to do some thank yous for 2024. We've got some partners that it's not really about the partners today, but I know some of them are listening in, and I just want to mention for driving deposits, if you want to take a quick Google search of the Core Point, they've got some neat deposit driving products that have helped us. FinGoal is another company where we have access to account holder data, transaction data specifically, that really helps drive these results, and also Open Anywhere, which we are going to talk about Open Anywhere today during our presentation. But one of the things I want to point out on this slide is we have some 300 customers, and we appreciate that. We've got some existing customers on the call today. And you can see in those little corners there that we've had some really good success. Over a billion in deposits have been driven through what we're going to talk about today, and over a billion in revenue has been driven as well. So we drive loan balances and deposit balances in a significant way. We had a very good 2024, thanks to a lot of the folks on the phone, because we do have some existing customers here. And if you're new to us and you haven't heard it, we've got something very exciting to tell you about. Thank you, Jacob. That slide is now I can see it. And we also have new commercial loan balances of $14 million. So really quite an important year, very exciting for a small company. And Jacob, if you'll turn the slides, we'll get this little show on the road. So this is called DeepTarget for Banno, How to Love Your Customers in the Digital Age. We have some proven strategies. We have some panel insights coming up in a second. I will tell you that it is really important because loving your customers in the digital age is getting a message out to them that is specific to them, that is targeted, and that is personalized. And so we're going to show you how that works here. Jacob, if you'll go to the next slide. So I'll just do a little welcome introduction and the thank yous, which I've already done. I want to give you some market perspective of some changes that are going on with marketing, digital marketing specifically. We do have a guest who's going to be joining us. And after we talk to that guest, we're going to talk about the perfect world. And what I mean by the perfect world is we all live in a place where imagine if everything just worked. And so I want to describe what a perfect world looks like in terms of digital marketing. And I want to show you that there's a way that we can actually quite closely approximate that personal perfect world and get some real results. So then after I talk about that, you'll see how we do that with a live demo, and that's what Jacob's going to handle for us. And as I mentioned, please stick around because we have something new for 2025. If you're on this call, thank you for being here. We invited you with a special offer to try this program at a completely no financial risk way for 6 months. So it's an opportunity that you won't want to miss. And it's my last slide. So I'll just kind of build it up for the conclusion. Jacob, with that, if we can go on to the presentation, that'd be wonderful. So here's what we're doing. DeepTarget is flipping the script on traditional marketing. And the reason why we have the little button there that traditional marketing is mute, it isn't mute. It's just there's too much of it. The digital screens that are out there now, everybody's got different ways to get to people digitally. You see algorithms all the time. Sometimes you say, I think my phone is listening to me because you're getting ads that just seem to pop up everywhere. And so it's tough to kind of stay above the noise. But what we can do, and the only thing that we do at DeepTarget is we can help you to turn up the volume of your bank. And the way we do that is we use Banno. We use the online and mobile applications through a plugin that already exists. So what we're going to talk about today, it already exists on your Banno application. It is a matter of turning it on. And when I say it's a matter of turning it on, we can do that in just a short period of time. We've got people up and running on the program that we're going to be talking about today, and in as short a time frame as a week. So this is how you turn up the volume. And Jacob, if you go on to the next screen, I just want to point out that the generic marketing. Whoops, Jacob. Oh, something happened. My screen just did something to me. Anyway, I just want to point out that with generic marketing, it falls flat. And the reason why it falls flat is because the digital world is really taken over. And I've got an example here of an outdoor billboard advertising or cold calling or radio advertising. It all still works for sure, but there's a lot of noise in that space. And this next slide will show you how we cut above those noise with an application, the Banno application. And I want to just take a minute and kind of slowly go through what's happening here. It's a busy slide, but it's busy on purpose. So we live in a busy world. You see up there on the left-hand side, there's your bank. In this case, it's Spotlight Federal. They're up there on the billboard, and you've got a generic ad. Start saving for your future. You got your phone number up there. You got all of that happening. But in the meantime, what's the actual account holder doing? And I want to make note that we put a red light here. Sometimes people do this without the red light, but the idea is that they're looking at their phone. And if you think about it, you can see people on dates, you can see people on first dates, you can see kids on groups with they should all be hanging out with their friend, but what is everybody doing? Everybody's looking down at their phone. Now, they're not looking at their mobile banking application every minute of every day, but when they go to do banking, they are going to be looking down at the phone. And one of the things you'll see, and I'll actually, I can't do it, but Jacob, you can point to the word John in the right-hand corner with your spotter. One of the things we're able to do is get a specific message out to John using his name when he looks down at his phone. And the reason why that's important, and I'll just make up a number, if you have 25,000 account holders, we can literally send 25,000 different messages every single day on an automated basis using their first name, but not with all the same information. In other words, we can send a message to John because he qualifies for a high yielding checking account, but we can also send something to Becky because she has a mortgage and she's right for a home equity line of credit account. So the idea is that using your data, which we take in on an overnight basis into our system, and Jacob's going to demonstrate that back office system, into our system, we're able to target people with specific messages, which is the right message at the right time to the right person. The reason why that's important, as I mentioned, we're trying to turn up the volume. We're trying to make this message land. And obviously the message will land if we get the right message out to the person that we have something specific just for them. So this little screen that we've got here really contrasts traditional marketing versus online marketing versus digital marketing versus targeted personalized advertising. Jacob? So this is Ben Metz. I don't know if you guys know Ben Metz, but Ben is the CTO and Chief Digital Officer at Jack Henry. Ben is a fan of DeepTarget. You can see we're all smiles right here. I was wearing a DeepTarget hat when he called out to me. And he had this quote, which I think is great. Our job in fintech is to help community financial institutions leverage technology that they otherwise could not afford to punch above their weight class. And I really think that's important because we have customers that are as small, I believe, as 35 million in assets. We have much larger institutions as well. So it doesn't matter who you are. You can do this digital advertising. As I said, it already exists on Banno. It's a matter of turning it on. So even if you're small, you still have the advantages, as Ben said, to have the best digital tech that can be provided. And so I just kind of wanted to make a note that Ben is behind this. So for those of you that know Ben, next slide. So we did ask our customers what they would do if they did not have DeepTarget. And it was kind of interesting because this is the one that I think a lot of people are doing. And I'm going to go from right to left, and that's do nothing. So you have this digital real estate, you have this opportunity to turn up the volume of your marketing, to rise above the noise, to get a specific message out to people. And yet, even though it's there on your Banno platform, ready to be turned on, it's not. And so that's kind of on us, and it's why we're here today to get the message out that this exists. There's also manual approaches. You can take data from outside sources, and I do see some financial institutions doing that. The problem is kind of like outdoor advertising, there's no real reporting. So you get the data, you do some targeting. How well did the marketing work? The answer is often we don't know. You can use an outside service provider to come up with content and come up with strategy. Those work. Or you can do in-house development. But one of the things that we like to say is we're an and company, not an or company. So in no cases that I know of, and I've been with the company DeepTarget for 3 years now, in no cases do I know of anyone, not a replacement for anything. We're just an addition because we can kind of pay for ourselves. And by kind of, that's probably the wrong word. We do pay for ourselves. And Jacob's going to show you some reports of how that happens. Next slide. So I want to bring in an interesting gentleman that I could talk to all day. In fact, I was talking to him just prior as we were getting ready today, and he's just a fascinating person to talk to. And Phil, if you can throw on your camera and say hello.
Hello.
There he is. So Phil, can you just tell us a little bit, as we were talking earlier, how you got involved and kind of your history with Banno and your bank, your story, and because like I said, I can make this whole meeting about you.
Well, thank you. So Phil Suckow, I'm the VP of Innovation at Incredible Bank. Our team's focus on how we're opening the door digitally to our customers. Incredible Bank has a long history of being a community bank. In 2009, we actually stood up one of the first digital-only community banks. And so one of the things we had a lot of success in was growing digitally. And one of the challenges we found was as we continued to grow and scale, we needed a mobile banking platform that was going to be able to grow and scale with us. And so we've been a partner of the Banno team and Jack Henry since their inception, really taking our first app live in both 2015 as well as in 2016 as we were operating two different brands. And so we've been a longtime user of the Banno marketing and all of the pieces that they offer inside that platform as well.
Gotcha. And you use so you use some of their services, right? I think it's called Banno Premium. Is that correct, Phil?
Yes, we do use Banno Premium, and kind of like Jim, you said, is one of the things when we engaged with DeepTarget, we had always said that and is really the value add that we know that what Banno marketing does is different than what DeepTarget does. And inside that ecosystem, we know that we can leverage both for different purposes to really be able to help and engage our customers.
Great. Well, I really like to drive that both message because it's a fun part of our job is the fact that we don't knock anybody out of the box. We truly don't have, oh, we lost the deal or they're going to work with somebody else. We just don't see that happening. People that have Banno, and we have quite a good penetration into people that already have Banno because it already exists. So Jacob, if you can go to the next slide. I think we had a question, Phil, about Open Anywhere, because I know when we talked, and I mentioned earlier that we were going to talk today about how it works and we do targeting with Open Anywhere. We've kind of nicknamed it at DeepTarget Target Anywhere, where you combine the two. But if we can just start with the recent success that you've had with Open Anywhere and tell us about that, and then we'll talk about how DeepTarget can even enhance it further.
We're super excited about leveraging the partnership with DeepTarget and JHA Open Anywhere because the collaboration allows us to take customers from a targeted ad inside the mobile app and into a specific product with a pre-filled deposit application that we can really streamline that account opening experience and pre-fill their checkout of a specific account or multiple accounts that they were targeted for from a DeepTarget ad.
Excellent. So basically what we're saying is if you were to target the ad and you have Open Anywhere already, or even if you do not, this is something that can accelerate the new deposits being driven. I know new deposits a big thing for you at the bank. Is that right, Phil?
Deposits. I think
yeah.
Every one of our team members could answer that is a strategic priority for us.
Yeah. Deposits is the answer. There's no need to further kind of expand upon that. Jacob, you can go to the next question. So you also mentioned that you already had digital ads, but you aren't able to do, well, actually, just tell me what caught your attention because we're out there marketing. As you know, we're trying to get more people on Banno and we're glad to have you, Phil. Can you just tell us what caught your attention when you first saw us?
So I think the challenge was really brought forward by our marketing and data teams that the scalability of what we needed to be able to do of offering personalization and everything at scale. We needed to be able to have a partner that we found in DeepTarget to be able to help with the automation that we didn't have to always be paying attention and creating new lists or doing migration of data. We're able to work with Jacob and the DeepTarget team to kind of leverage them as a outsourced but internal team member to help facilitate a lot of these targeted ads. We're still able to have complete control of the content and the brand, which as Incredible Bank, we take a high pride in ourselves of how we're delivering that to our customers. But what we found is we needed the help on, okay, building the targeted list. What's the trigger going to be able to have those happen? And so it was really a strategy where we were able to partner with DeepTarget to kind of be that value added complement to our employees to be able to have not just one opportunity running, but to have hundreds potentially of opportunities running continuously.
Gotcha. And how many account holders do you have, Phil?
Around 46,000 consumers.
46,000. Okay. So that makes the point that with when you want to go personalized or you want to go targeted ad, that's a lot of people to keep up with. Everyone, that's 46,000 different personal stories. And so that's a tricky thing to do. Interestingly enough, just for the audience here, the other gentleman's face who's been turning the slides, who you'll hear from in a minute, is Phil's partner. So when Phil says that they have outreach and they have someone to work with and someone to help do the work and do the strategy, Jacob is the one that works on their team, and we'll be hearing from him in a second here. So, Jacob, if you can go to the next slide, please. So, as this is called How to Love Your Account Holders in the Digital Age, and that is the point of there's a line we use called show me, you know me, right? So when we reach out to people, can you just tell us what you feel about personalization and what that messaging is doing for you guys at the bank?
Yeah, we believe harnessing the power of data and delivering a tailored message that resonates with the company, with the customer and their unique needs is going to engage them at a much deeper level. This approach brings them further down that digital sales funnel, breaking through all the noise that's in the daily life that they have and connecting with them where they are at in their financial journey.
Excellent. And so you are putting a first name on each person's on the ads that you're running?
Yes, we are using the personalization. It allows us to do personalization at scale. There's some that we may choose to personalize or not, but yeah, we are running multiple ads that have a personalized greeting of, hey, Phil, take a look at this from information about our fraud or a targeted thing about a mortgage opportunity.
Excellent. Okay. And then on the reporting standpoint, I don't have any other written questions, but I'm just watching our time. We've got some time to talk. Have you used the reports yet to see so we do clicks, we do views, we do clicks, and we do actual results. Have you been getting into the reports? What do you do with the reports? Jacob's going to show the reports in a minute, but can you just tell us how you use them?
So our team's actually working with Jacob right now on understanding reports at a deep level. But what we really find the value in is that digital sales funnel. Using a lot of tools, it's hard to be able to track from the top of the funnel all the way down. And that's where we see part of what DeepTarget's able to do is give us better insight on how and where in the funnel did that customer come from and where in the funnel are they?
Gotcha. Okay. And then you also use the tool. That's just me. I'm always talking about driving new deposits, driving new loans. You mentioned fraud alerts, e-statements. Have you got to that place yet? Because we can do other messaging that isn't selling it. We don't have to be selling something every day. We want a relationship with our account holders.
So one of our whole strategies around personalization is how can we help our customers bring more accounts into one financial view? So through Banno, we partner with Finicity for external account aggregation. And one of the things that we target with a personalized ad is engaging users that aren't in or are not already connecting external accounts to be able to connect them. Ultimately, we believe that more connected accounts will lead to more personalization, more offers that we're then able to do at scale, which will help us grow additional products and services with the customer.
Gotcha. Okay. And now I'm going to take a risk because by the way, I like to go 360. Is there anything you don't like about it, Phil? Let's just act like there's nobody else here. And I'm
Oh,
sincere on that.
Oh, well, thank you. I think right now we haven't found anything that has caused us pause. The phenomenal thing from working with the sales team up to the CEO of the company with contract negotiation and all the way to Jacob, it really has felt like a partner that is there and wants to be there to help you grow. And that's one of the things that we really look for with any new partnership is that we have that team that has aligned and mutual goals for growth. And that's, I think, one of the things we found most refreshing working with the DeepTarget team, that they value and embrace that same partnership mentality.
Good. Well, great. Well, thank you, Phil. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but I appreciate that, and I know that you've done a couple of things for us, which I want to thank you. One is you've been a reference when other people are looking at it and not sure. They want to see how it's going. They've called you, you've taken some calls, and I know you've pointed some friends to us. So you've given us some leads and told some other Banno people, hey, you ought to take a look at that. I want to make sure I say thank you in regards to that. So. We're going to keep you on in case we have more questions near the end, but I want to move ahead, Jacob, to the next slide. And so I told you that I would talk about the perfect world. So if you imagine a perfect world and when you were communicating only the right message to the right person at the right time. And what's cool about this is if you think about advertising, nobody likes advertising. I'll just say it out loud. It's like, oh, great, another ad in the middle of what I'm trying to do. But the truth is, if you got the right message to the right person at the right time, that is a good thing. So we can do that with the right data, which is the data that you have in your core, and some AI powered insights. We can deliver these hyper personalized messages, and they resonate deeply and they drive meaningful engagement. Now, I was teasing the person that was helping me making the slides because Megan over here on the left is a little overly excited about getting a high yielding checking account. So she's, through the moon with excitement over seeing something. But there is a line in there. It's kind of small print where it's we have something just for you. If I said to anybody, and you can answer this in your own head, obviously, we're not talking directly, you're just listening in. But if your name was Mike and I said, hey, Mike, I've got something just for you. And then I put that long pause on it. I think what happens in your head is you form the words, what is it? And I point that out because a lot of our messages do have something because we've used data, because we've targeted them with something. We do have something just for them. We have a specific rate that's just for them because their FICO score is good. We have a home equity line of credit that's just for them because they have a mortgage. It would be crazy, by the way, to run an ad for home equity lines of credit to people that don't have a mortgage. And half the country doesn't have a mortgage. They're renters. So why are we running generic ads? Even if you have a great home equity line of credit program, why does every account holder see that ad? The answer is they should not. So the idea of a perfect world is if you only got the right message, and that's what's cool about this program at DeepTarget is because we're going to actually do less advertising, but we're going to get the right message to the right person at the right time, which gets that view, and that's how we get the view using the just for you, that gets that click, and then we have a way of actually measuring if they took out the actual product. So with that, I want to turn it now to Jacob, I think, if I'm right. No, I one more slide. So I do like this slide. It's my favorite one in the whole presentation. Banks are good at going wide. So if you think about a tree, right? A tree covers great shade and it grows wide and grows tall. But why go wide if you're not going to go deep? And the truth is, most banks are good at, and I was even teasing Phil, Phil has a branch in Florida. So I was teasing him that they have a branch in Florida for the purpose of having all the board meetings down in Florida in the wintertime in Wisconsin. But that's not the case. I'm just teasing you, Phil. But anyway, the idea of going wide, we know how to do that as bankers. We know how to open new branches. We know how to get new customers. We know how to increase the footprint. But why have a bunch of friends if you're going to be shallow in your relationships? And by shallow in your relationships, think about the number of products per account holder that you have. And I call on banks every day, and it's often very low. In fact, I know very few bankers. Phil, I'll just ask you, what is your number of products per customer? Do you know the number?
So we don't focus on the product per household number currently. We have historically, but what we really found was growing the relationship. We need a better data warehouse strategy to be able to truly have that measurement. And so that's a challenge we're currently looking to solve to get to a more accurate products per household type calculation.
Okay. Good. And of course, DeepTarget can help you do that. So the idea is to go deep and to go deep in the relationship. And now, Jacob, you can go to the next slide. Okay, I got a couple more before I go. So the perfect world does actually exist, and we have a marketing ecosystem with every interaction that's efficient, it's personalized, and it's impactful. And I just want to walk through these bubbles. So it's effortless efficiency because the fractional expertise is the fact that you get someone like Jacob, who you'll hear from shortly, on your team, who is a digital banking expert who knows how to run these ads. And he and also the rest of his team have the experience of other banks. And so they can give you ideas and they can lead you and they can do all the work for you. So it is not adding any extra work to the bank. I know Phil is a busy guy and he leans very hard on Jacob. The next thing, because of the reporting, is we can make it a profit center. So your Banno platform can go from a cost center to a profit center because we can actually have a tangible ROI that you can see. It's hyper personalized because we're doing this AI driven engagement. So we're using the people's first name, which creates a wow experience that is seamless for the customer. So in this digital world, this really is, in my view, the only path, right? If you're going to be working with them digitally, then we're going to have to act like we're working with them individually. And that's what we're able to do. Next slide. So Banno has this real estate, as I've mentioned, going back to that picture of the guy sitting at the stoplight. There's red real estate that's ripe for the picking, and it's more than just a website. It is a valuable digital asset. And so what we want to do is help you because many financial institutions are simply underutilizing this crucial touch point. You just aren't doing it. And so I would even look, if you're sitting there at home, just open up your app and go, what kind of ads are we running? And see if your name, when you pull up your mobile app, is on the ad. And if your name is not on the ad and if there's not something specific for you, there's an opportunity here for you. Next slide. So we run ads that look like this when we talk about personalization, by the way. Jordan's birthday, happy birthday, Jordan. That's something that could go right across the screen and is very effective. In fact, we get a lot of good feedback on the fact that we're recognizing account holders on their birthday. We can also have different things. You'll see each time we're doing something special for Jordan, calling attention to him. And Jacob, next slide. We have all kinds of proof points. This is just a quote from somebody. We have plenty of people like Phil that are references, so I won't really spend some time on this quote. The next slide is where I want to get to. And Jacob, I keep saying you're coming because I thought you were right around the corner because I think the most important part is for them to see it. So there we are. We're in good shape time-wise, Jacob, so to give them all you got.
All right, Jim, thanks. Give me just 1 second while I get this pulled up here. There we go. Just getting logged in, and then we will be good to go. All right, and so just to give a little context here about what we're going to take a look at, the first thing is we are going to take a look at how all of this works within Banno. So you're going to have your customers who are going to log into their digital banking account here within their Banno platform. And so we've worked to set
Jacob,
up,
just want to make
yes.
sure I'm not seeing the screen, but I don't know if the audience is.
All right. Okay. It should be, let me just do a complete stop and reshare there then.
Now I see the screen, Jacob.
Awesome. So what we have here is we have our customer who is logged into digital banking. And so as you all will see this, you're going to be pretty familiar with Banno here. And so we are going to be plugins that will go right on the dashboard. So we're going to have lots of this. Well, we'll have the same functionality as a plugin would. So the ability to position them wherever you would like for your financial institutions, set up the ability to name those plugins as well. And as Jim mentioned, very easy to turn on because they are plugins. We can do all of the configuration and setup with DeepTarget within Banno People. So it's a very easy lift when we think about getting started there and getting this set up within your Banno environment. But the thing I want to draw attention to is this plugin over here on the right side of the screen. We call this our carousel plugin. It is going to be akin to the traditional banner type advertisement that you may be familiar with. But as this rotates through, you can see it is speaking directly to me. My name is Jacob. I've logged into our DeepTarget account here, and so that is speaking to me because I'm the one who runs this. And so within all of those targeted offerings, we can use personalization, not just the first name, but it is very easy to do that at scale. We have a way for you to simply check a box and add that first name personalization on top of the content right as you upload it into the system. So when Jacob logs in, he would see Jacob. Phil would see Phil's name, Jim would see Jim's name, but we've only created one piece of content. We've uploaded it one time and we've created one campaign that's going to personalize at scale as it's delivered in the app. And so that also works with any other types of data. We can personalize any type of data field. So whether that's cashback, rewards, it's a pre-approval on a rate or a balance, all of that type of personalized information or data can be put right on at scale on that ad. So now it becomes, hey, Jacob, we have a 7%, personal loan for this much for you. And we can create that for all of our individual customers and we can personalize it down to the exact offer for that individual from one campaign. So that ability to personalize at scale is a very powerful piece. And then we take it the next step further by combining it with the deep integration into Banno to elicit an action from the customer. So what that means is when we target an individual for an account or for even a service like e-statements or another piece of technology, as Phil mentioned, Finicity, we can do what we call a deep link within the platform, meaning we can actually escort that customer directly to the location within Banno they need to be to take advantage of that offering or that communication. So linking them directly into Finicity so they could set it up, linking them to the e-statements page so they can enable e-statements on all of their accounts after we've targeted them because they don't currently have e-statements enabled. And my personal favorite, as we talked about just a little bit, linking them directly into the application for that product. So you see Jacob's targeted here for a money market account. I can actually click on open an account today, and we can see that it will go into a pre-designed workflow within the Open Anywhere application here to allow Jacob or to allow myself to apply for that product directly from the targeted offer. And so we've just created a very sample basic workflow. But what I want you to see here is that I did click on a money market ad. We have a money market product that was pre-selected through that process. Had I clicked on certificate or savings account, we'd be able to launch into a unique workflow specific to that deposit type. So we can create all of these, and I won't go through this whole process here today, but what you can see here is at this point, I've been entered into that Open Anywhere workflow that I've created directly from clicking on that offer that was personalized for myself right on the dashboard of my digital banking platform. And so just jumping back to our digital banking platform here, we can do a couple different things. We can serve up an unlimited number of campaigns. I think that's very important because as Phil mentioned, when you have 46,000 account holders, you may want to get very targeted. In fact, we could serve up 46,000 different messages every day. Now, with the targeting methods that we offer, we'll probably find out that a lot of those customers go into various buckets together. So we wouldn't serve up 46,000 individual messages, but we would still be able to personalize those messages at scale down to the individual within those buckets. So that's a little bit about what is working within this Banno environment. We do have a second plugin over here that has been stationary. This is going to take us into another type of environment. We call it our 3D storyteller. We think of it as a topical environment. So in addition to all these rotating offers and promotions over here on the right-hand side, we do have clients choose to utilize this 3D storyteller technology to promote things like financial education, um, specific types of products, whether you wanted to, you see us doing a special promotion, whether you want to focus in on business banking messaging or retail side banking messaging, you really have the opportunity to kind of do more within that environment. And so if I just click on it here, it'll just go in. And so as I just kind of just quickly scroll through this, you can see it is a completely 3D environment. We would put the logo for your financial institution on the top here to customize that, but that user would be able to click through online. It would also work in mobile with a physical swipe of your finger left and right. So you'd be able to kind of engage with all of these communications within this one environment here. So a couple different options that you have when we talk about integrating DeepTarget into that Banno environment, but all of it is ready to go today. And all of it can be, as I mentioned, deep linked so that we can kind of go from the targeted personalized offer directly into that action that we're trying to elicit. So now I want to go ahead and I want to switch gears and I want to move into our back office. So this is going to be us taking a look at, well, how do we manage and set up all of this personalization within the Banno environment? So from this point on, we talked a little bit about how DeepTarget really helps you. And so we do offer what we call a managed service. And so you would be working with someone like me or one of my teammates on a daily basis, or really at whatever frequently you would like us to be involved. But we can run this entire back office for you. So you can work with us to provide us content. You can you can have us design content, but we can offer recommendations on targeted audiences. We can help set up the campaigns within the back office, but we make it very easy for your team, whether you're outsourcing that to DeepTarget or whether you're doing that yourself, as we have customers who do it both different ways. But we make it very easy for you to manage everything from one central location. So when we take a look at this here, we can actually see that all of this types of messaging, we can see our 3D storyteller content that I was showing you just a moment ago. We can see other types of content as well that don't have the 3D indicator. But whether it's a message about a closure or another service that you're offering to your individual customers, we can also see different types of targeting. So just a little quick note about that. We do offer multiple types of targeting. I think that's important to mention. We can do basic targeting by rule, where we can just create these criterias along any data points that you have access to at your financial institution. We can ingest lists, but what my personal two favorite types of targeting that we offer are the predictive model-based targeting, where we can actually go through your data and we can identify these customers with a high propensity to act on various products and services that they do not currently have today. So with that predictive model, we're really taking that targeting off your plate. And so we can upload an image and turn the campaign on, and that predictive model will continuously update as new data comes in. Our last type of targeting is targeting by transactional data. So we've partnered with FinGoal here to allow our customers to dig into the transactions that their customers are making and find out pieces of information from that data, so we can target them based on, that information, whether they're making payments on external accounts, whether they're eating out regularly or a sports fan, whatever type of information that we can kind of generate these user tags to help target in another new effective way. So I know transaction data is becoming kind of a hot topic, so that's something that we're excited to offer here at DeepTarget as well, targeting in that method. So the last thing I want to talk about here is we've set up all of these campaigns. We've personalized and delivered them within the Banno environment. So really, I think the strength of what DeepTarget does is in our reporting. So we have these reports built into our system, as well as an analytics API that will allow you to take these reports and these statistics outside of our system. I always like to mention that because, as Phil even alluded to, banks nowadays are trying to have these internal data warehouses or these internal dashboards, or they want to go into Power BI or something similar or CRM. So we do offer those analytics API that will allow you to pull your statistics out of the DXP and into that other system. So whether you view them in the system, whether you view them externally, or whether you schedule these management reports, as we call them, to be delivered to your email on a monthly basis, we have all of these reports that will showcase the journey of that customer from the very first time that they engaged with that targeted ad to the moment that they actually took the action that was intended. They opened up that deposit account, or they took out that loan product, or they signed up, for whatever service, right? So we have those management reports within our system. And so what we actually allow you to do at the bank is we allow you to set up what we call average revenue values. So we're going to go in here and take a look at what these are. These average revenue values are estimated values for profitability per product. These are able to be edited in real time by your financial institution because we understand things like rates and various other factors will affect the profitability. So those profitabilities can change. But the idea is if we're making $20 in interest off this type of account, interest income, let's say a credit card or something like that, we can come in here, we can put $20 in here, and we can save that. When we run the report, we know that, this many people clicked on a credit card ad, and then we opened up 10 credit cards this month. So we take that $20 that you've given us, and we can estimate that those 10 credit cards were worth about $200 in estimated monthly revenue that you made from those engagements from running that digital marketing ad. So you'll always have access to these average revenue values so that you're able to customize them to your report in real time. So the next thing I want to do is I want to take a look at one of these management reports. And so this is a Banno bank. They've been partnered with DeepTarget and Jack Henry for a long time, back into the NetTeller days. They've been a customer of DeepTarget for over 10 years. And so this bank is a $1 billion asset bank. And so these are their results from January 25. So what we can see here is, as I mentioned, a complete overview of what's going on. The number of campaigns they ran in both online and mobile combined down here was 37 different messages in the month of January. They reached about 16,000 unique individuals. So one thing we do is we do have a way to showcase total versus unique. We want to see on a one-to-one level if Jacob was targeted. Did Jacob get reached with the message? Did Jacob see the message? Did Jacob click on the message? And then did Jacob take the action? So we can truly track that complete customer cycle directly from these reports. So we see the number of individuals we've reached. We see the number of individuals that have uniquely clicked on an offer. And then we can calculate the number of influence conversions. So when that individual customer clicks on the offer and then opens up the product afterward that is tied into that digital advertisement, we can then draw that conclusion when the data comes in. And so we break these numbers out in a way, combining them with the average revenue values that I mentioned earlier, to create what we call a revenue growth grid. And so within this report, we can see those 204 new accounts that tie back to engagement within the Banno platform. And we can see the split across commercial, retail, and then both loans and deposit sides of banking as well. So for this client, we can see the various types of loan products that were opened up, and we can see the various types of deposit products that were opened up from engagement with their digital ads inside of Banno. We then take those average revenue values that they provided to estimate the monthly revenue on those products. So in January, this bank estimates that they made somewhere close to $25,000 off those 200 new accounts generated from engagement with deep target ads inside of their digital banking Banno platform. So we are trying to attach a ROI, a directional ROI that is going to showcase that for all of our customers, they are going to be making in excess of their monthly spend on DeepTarget in revenue coming back to them through the engagement they're generating with these new digital marketing ads. And so we do one last thing here as well with the reports. We understand sometimes revenue is not always, especially estimated revenue is not necessarily always the only number you want to look at there. So we do balances as well. We track the balances being reported in the data. So we can see, this was the number of loan products that were opened up in January, 39 different loans, and those 39 different loans broke across these categories. And we check in the reported balances. So we can actually tell them that not only did they open up 39 loans, but this was $1 million in new loan balances generated as reported by the data that is being provided by the financial institution. We do that in all of the different types of products. So that was retail side loans. We can see deposit balances generated on the 165 accounts was $2.2 million in new deposits. And then we can also do the business side. So whether it is a business deposit, a business loan, we can track those balances as well if any of those types of promotions are being run through DeepTarget. So these reports are going to be very comprehensive here for you and high scale at a different level. But what I want to emphasize, the last thing I want to emphasize before we hand it back to Jim is not only do we have these high level reports, but we are tracking the individual as well. So we say that there are 204 influence conversions in the month of January. Well, we can produce a report that showcases 204 entries. Entry one is ID 123 is Jacob Schaefer, and he clicked on your ad this day at this time, this many times. He opened up this product with this balance on this day. So we can truly show you that entire journey down to the individual who's engaged with the ad and opened up the product. And so with that, I want to go ahead and transition back to the PowerPoint. So let's go ahead and do that.
And Jacob, as you're doing that, I just want to mention for those of you that use Jack Henry Executive Insights on the dashboard, we can pull those in as well. So that you have a nice look. We call our reports board ready reports. And one of the things that's important, and I'm still on reporting, is that people want to know how we're doing. And that makes a perfect sense. Digital advertising in the old world, in the muted world, there's an old line called, we know that 50% of our advertising works, we just don't know which 50%. And that's if you're a marketing person, you've heard that a million times. But with digital advertising, we can know exactly what happens. So I'm very near the end of the presentation. We're going to give you back some time, which is great. But here's an example of an asset-sized bank, 460 million in assets. And they generated in the December of 24, $115,000 of new monthly recurring revenue. And we'll talk about the cost. The cost is based on the number of account holders and your asset size. We have a little formula. So if you're interested in the price, you can reach out to me and I can look at what your specific institution is. But the idea is would you trade $1,700? Because that's exactly what this financial institution spent for $115,000. And the answer is obviously yes. So we know, going on to the next screen, we know that banks are in the risk business, right? So we're lenders. That's what we do at banks. We put money out. We hope to get money back. And so we are risk averse. I wanted to just kind of end with a couple of slides here, kind of winding down the story, that this to kind of take the risk away. So here's what has to happen if you want to get involved with DeepTarget. We make it very easy. That first piece of the puzzle is the migration of data. So we have all the security documents and everything you would want due diligence wise. We've never lost a bank that went into due diligence with us over due diligence. So obviously handling data is a question that you should ask and a question that we should have a very good answer for, and we do. In terms of pricing, it's surprisingly affordable. Again, I won't get into actual pricing because all of you are different asset size, and it is based on asset size and number of account holders. But once you get the price, then getting started is easy. As I mentioned, this exists right now on your Banno platform. It is a matter of turning it on. But we have added, as I said, if you'll stay to the end, I have added a new piece to the puzzle. And that is that this year there is no financial risk at all for getting involved. So that's new for 2025. And we offered, when we kind of put out this thing, that everyone attended would get this opportunity. Next slide, please, Jacob. And that is that we have a risk-free money-back guarantee. That's a very strong risk-free money-back guarantee. Means we 100% satisfaction for the first 180 days from purchase. So you can exit for any reason or no reason at all. You don't even have to explain it. This allows you to get a no-risk trial so you can run ads and see how they do. We have one bit of small print, and the small print is on the screen. All we're asking is for you to get us your data so that we can get it up and running, because we really can't run targeted ads or personalize the ads if we don't have your data, of course. So, but if you'll run ads, and you'll run ads for that 6 month period of time. We are so confident that you will make money that we put this out there that we'll return all the money if for some reason you want to change your mind. So far to date, no one has done that. We used to have a 60-day guarantee, but we're extending it for 6 months. So for 6 months, you can look like a hero. You can run this, you can learn all about it, and you can get involved with no risk at all. And I'm going to make just a little joke because I know some of the folks on the call we've been talking to for a while. I'm not going to name names. I actually thought about, I'm going to name some names, but there's some people that have shown interest in this for a year. And basically, this is the chance now. We've just completely mowed down the runway to get involved. So with that, I'll go to the next slide. And all you have to do if you want to get involved or if you'd like to take advantage of that no risk guarantee is just send me a message. It can be as simple as, Jim, I'd like to know more. That's kind of a way of you raising your hand to us that you're interested, and we can get back to you on that in a very significant way. So anyway, if there's any questions, I do have a couple of minutes here. You can put your questions in the Q&A if you want. But at this point, I want to say we'll leave it open for those questions. But if you've got to go, you can go. You are going to get a copy of this recording. So if you want to show it to other members of your team, I would suggest, though, in terms of other members of your team, we like talking to people. And by the way, Phil likes talking to people. So if you want to do some more investigation, there's a lot of ways to do this. So with that, Phil, thank you for coming today. I want to hear more about the maple syrup. I'll just leave that as a mystery for the crowd. But anyway, we really appreciate you, Phil, being a customer. And we appreciate all our existing customers and our partners that have been on the call today. Thank you very much for attending. And I'll just wait here for a minute to see if there's any Q&A that typed into the Q&A section. Thank you, guys. You're free to go. Jacob, we do have a question. Define KEI and KMI, the key performance indicators. Can you answer those?
Absolutely. So KEI is going to be an engagement indicator based on clicks. So that stands for key engagement indicator. And so what we're doing is we're taking the number of unique impressions and we're dividing by the unique number of clicks. So we're calculating how many logins does it take of different customers to generate one engagement or one click. So if you see, the closer the number is to one, the better. So if you see a number like 10, for example, that means every 10 different customers logging in are actually going to be clicking on one of the digital marketing ads that you have out there. So that's just a way to kind of see, as that number gets higher, maybe there's something I want to go in to adjust the my ads to get more engagement, right? The other one, KMI, stands for key impression indicator. And this is going to relate the number of impressions to one conversion. So in a similar fashion, we're looking for the number to be as close to one as possible. And the larger the number means the more unique impressions it takes to generate one conversion. But going back to that same example, if we see 10, that means it took 10 different customers seeing an ad one time to generate one new conversion or one new account from your digital marketing. So those are what those KPIs are standing for.
Great. Okay. Next question. How long does it take to get started with you guys and start seeing an ROI? Jacob,
that's a great question.
Go ahead,
Jim, go ahead. You can take it.
No, you do it, Jacob.
All right. So that's a great question. Our implementation is a very easy process. And so there's really going to be, we typically say it takes about 30 days to get live. However, that's probably about 10 business hours of time over that 30 days. Now, of course, depending on how deep and custom we want to get into the data, which we absolutely support, sometimes that implementation can go a little bit longer, but we always also emphasize that we get started very easily and we can continuously add data at no additional cost into our uploads over time as we progress. But the idea here is we would set up that automated data feed and then we'd have about a 30-minute configuration session with someone at the financial institution that has access to Banno people. We'd set up the external apps as for testers. We'd then test. We would then turn on the external apps for all customers. And so Typically, that process happens in about a month, and then we would say look for about 1 month's worth of running campaigns to start see those results coming in. So about 60 days, I would say, to see an ROI from signing to results.
All right. I do not see any more questions, and I do want to give everybody the 5 minutes back, specific, especially Phil, because Phil, we appreciate you taking your time out today. So thank you very much. You're a real gentleman. And
Happy to.
with
Thank you,
that,
Coach.
all right. And with that, Jacob, I think we can end the recording and let everybody go on their way. And we hope to hear from you soon. Thank you very
All
much.
right. Thanks, everyone.